5 miles over Germany, you hang beneath a bomber in a ball of glass and steel, knees folded to your chest, and your parachute is somewhere above you, out of reach.
Stage 1. The assignment. Every man in the ball got there the same way.
Someone looked him over, decided he was small enough, and gave him the job nobody asked for. Months earlier, in a gunnery school on the Texas flatlands, a sergeant walks the line of new gunners and stops in front of you.
You are the shortest man in the row. The Sperry ball. 44 inches across.
He assigns you to the Sperry lower ball turret, a powered sphere of steel and plexiglass that hangs beneath the belly of the B-17 Flying Fortress like a glass dewdrop. Somebody has to write it, the sergeant says, and smaller men write it better. You will learn, in time, that there is a strange pride buried at the bottom of that sentence. You train on shotguns and clay pigeons first, then in turret rigs, learning to swing the sight through a moving target and squeeze off short bursts before it crosses out of reach. At a base in the Midwest, they build your crew around a bomber: pilots, navigator, bombardier, engineer, radiomen, gunners. Strangers who will shortly know each other better than brothers.
A B-17 crew. 10 men.
Everyone on a fortress has a station, and every station has sky to watch. Yours is the one place on the whole airplane where no other man can reach you. By the time the train drops you in East Anglia, the war is a smell: wet wool, mud, high-octane fuel, and coal smoke drifting low over rows of curved steel huts. The veterans at your new base are only months older than you, but they have old men's eyes. When they hear you fly the ball, they go quiet and look away. What looks like small, armored, survivable is really naked under the bomber. The statistics will one day show the ball was among the better protected stations, a small target wrapped in armor and machinery.
Nobody who ever wrote it believed that for a second.
On the hardstand you meet your fortress, and you walk under her to see it for yourself, the ball, tucked against the belly, guns drooping, glass fogged with English dew. You practice folding yourself into it on the ground, hatch open, knees to chest, until the shape of the ball is printed on your body like a second skeleton.
An armorer explains the arithmetic of the space. There is no room inside the turret for a chest parachute. It will wait for you in the fuselage, clipped by the hatch. Stage 2. The ride up.
Mission day begins in the dark, hours before the sun, and it begins with a hand on your shoulder and a flashlight in your face.
The orderly's whisper moves down the hut, name by name. Breakfast in an hour, briefing after.
You lie still for one breath, listening to rain tick on corrugated steel.
Real eggs this morning, not powdered, which is how you know it will be a deep one. The mess hall is loud with everything the men are not saying.
In the briefing hut an officer pulls back the curtain, and the red yarn runs from England deep into Germany. The whole room groans at once, and your voice is in it.
Today's mission. 10 hours in the air. The briefers talk of flak belts, fighter zones, and rally points over the drone of the projector.
What you hear is time, how long your body must live folded inside the ball. In the equipment room you dress like a diver going deep, long underwear, the wired electric suit, sheepskin over that, silk gloves under leather, boots over heated slippers. Every layer has a job, and every layer will be tested. Where you are going, the air is too thin to breathe and cold enough to freeze bare skin to metal. A truck carries you out through the dark to the hardstands, past blacked-out farmhouses. Somewhere a right engine coughs, catches, and settles into a run.
The day has started.
At the ship you install your 2 barrels, feed the belts, and wipe every working part nearly dry, because ordinary gun oil freezes solid at the altitudes where you fight. For takeoff you ride upstairs in the radio room, braced against the bulkhead.
No one rides the ball on takeoff. If a tire blows, the belly is no place to be.
The fortress rolls heavy with bombs and fuel, using all the runway there is. You feel the tail come up through the floor, then the rumble stops, and England drops away. The group climbs through solid cloud to assemble, and every man aboard listens for the engines of some other fortress climbing blind through the same white nothing toward the same hole.
The formation. 300 heavy bombers, on a big day.
Above the cloud the sky is suddenly full of bombers, circling and sliding into their combat boxes, a machine made of machines assembling itself in the sunrise over England.
Stage 3. The climb in.
Over the channel the pilot calls for oxygen checks in battle stations. For you, battle stations means going down through a hatch into the sky. As the ship climbs you strap the rubber oxygen mask to your face and snap the hose to the ship. Every breath is now equipment, and equipment can fail. You make your way aft along the narrow catwalk, past the bomb bays racked in folded steel, into the waist, where the gunners stand at their open windows in the roar. The turret hangs with its guns pointed straight down, which swings the hatch up into the fuselage. That is the only position in which a man can enter or leave it. You shrug off your chest pack and clip it to the airframe beside the hatch, close enough to touch, in a place you will not be able to reach. Then you go down into it, one leg, the other, and fold, knees to chest, spine curled against the armor plate, boots into the stirrups either side of the sight. The waist gunner lowers the hatch over you and dogs it shut. The roar goes distant. You are alone now in a glass room the size of a bathtub. You plug yourself into the ship, oxygen hose, interphone cord, the lead for your electric suit. 3 thin lifelines, and every one of them can be cut by a splinter. This is your office for the day. A computing gun sight between your feet, 2 handles beside your head, and the whole open sky arranged around your folded body. You squeeze the control handles and the turret comes alive under you, humming in azimuth, and the sea wheels past your feet as the whole ball turns with your body. Over the channel comes permission to test the guns. You thumb both buttons, the twin 50s shudder through your spine, and tracer arcs down toward the empty gray sea. What looks like chutes within reach is really a hatch between you. Above you, every other man on this airplane works within arm's reach of a parachute. You have chosen, or been chosen, to work on the far side of that arithmetic. And then there is the view, which no one warned you about, nothing below your boots but air and light, the planet turning slowly under a skin of glass. Stage 4. Into the cold. The fortress is unpressurized and unheated where you sit. Long before any German shoots at you, the altitude itself begins its work. Bombing altitude. 25,000 feet. The formation climbs to bombing height and levels off an air so thin that an unprotected man would pass out within minutes and never once know it was happening. Air temperature. -40 degrees, and colder. The cold up here is not weather. It is a pressure, a patient thing with hands, probing every seam of your suit for the one place you forgot this morning. Your own breath betrays you. Frost creeps across the inside of the glass in feathers, and you scrape a porthole clear with the heel of your glove, again and again. Ice builds inside your oxygen mask from the moisture of your own breathing. Every few minutes you crush it with your fingers so the valve keeps feeding you your life. The electric suit is your furnace, wired like a toaster and plugged into the ship. Gunners talk about the day there's quit at altitude the way sailors talk about drowning. Oxygen starvation. 3 to 5 minutes of useful consciousness. Worse than the cold is the thing with no sensation at all. Anoxia does not hurt. It makes you comfortable, then stupid, then dead, all without a single alarm. So the crew counts itself, over and over. The co-pilot calls each station in turn on the interphone, and each man answers, proving with his voice that he is alive. Your turn comes and you answer, ball turret, okay? Somewhere above you, a man you cannot see makes a small mark, and the count moves on to the tail. Around you the other fortresses ride their own frozen breath, contrails streaming white and dead straight behind them, announcing the formation to every German gunner awake in Europe. For long stretches nothing happens at all, and the beauty is a kind of ambush, rivers of cloud, the curve of the earth, a light no one at home will ever see. The quiet enemy. Number 1 cause of casualties on returning bombers. This year, the cold will hurt more American airmen than the Germans managed to. Frostbite takes fingers, cheeks, and feet quietly, one forgotten glove at a time. Your knees have been against your chest for an hour, or a year. Pain reports in from ankles, hips, and spine, then signs off, replaced by a vast numbness. Then the navigator's voice, flat and careful, says enemy coast ahead. Below your boots the gray sea ends at a line of surf, and everything beyond it shoots back. Stage 5. The Flak. The German anti-aircraft crews do not need to see your face. They need only altitude, course, and speed, and their instruments are very good. It starts as soot in the distance, small black smudges blooming in neat rows, ahead and level, exactly where the formation is going to be. You watch the formation fly toward it. The flak gun. 88 millimeters. The gun doing this is a legend on both sides of the war. Its shells climb to your altitude in seconds and burst into a cloud of steel splinters. A battery finds your squadron's range and the bursts begin to walk, each one closer than the last, a set of footprints crossing the sky toward your glass. A close one you hear even over the engines, a flat iron bark, and then the rattle of its fragments across the wings like gravel thrown on a roof. Closer still, and the burst smoke drags across the ship. You get the smell of it through the mask somehow, burnt and chemical, the smell of aimed arithmetic. There is nothing for your guns to do here. Flak is not a thing you can shoot back at. You fold a little smaller and ride, which is the whole job now. Upstairs the men wear flak vests and steel helmets over their gear. In the ball there is no room for armor over your body. The ball itself is your armor. The formation swings onto the bomb run at the initial point, and the pilot's voice goes quiet and formal. From here to the target, the airplane flies straight and level. The bomb run. 10 minutes, straight and level. No dodging, no weaving, no mercy for anyone's nerves. The bombardier needs a stable platform, so the whole formation holds its course through the thickest flak in Europe. Your own bomb doors grind open somewhere behind your back, and the slipstream's no changes. The bombardier has the airplane now, and he is not interested in the flak. Bombs away, and the ship leaps like a boat coming off a wave. Then you watch your own bombs fall past your feet, shrinking to specks against the target below. You key the interphone and report the strike as ripples of light walk across the marshalling yards. It is the reason for everything today, and it takes seconds. Off your wing, low, a fortress from another squadron slides out of formation with a feathered engine and fire. You count the parachutes out loud, because the count matters. Stage 6. The fighters. Past the target the flak fades behind you, and that is not good news. Quiet guns mean the sky has been handed over to the fighters. The escort fighters rock their wings at the edge of their fuel and turn back for England. You watch the little friends shrink to glitter and then to nothing. Then the interphone, bandits, 12 o'clock high, climbing. From the ball you cannot see them yet. You spin the turret forward anyway and put your thumbs on the buttons. Head-on pass. 2 seconds of firing time. The Luftwaffe learned to attack head-on, where the fortress carries the fewest guns. The combined closing speed gives every man aboard barely one breath to aim and fire. They come through the formation like flung stones, yellow-nosed, wings sparkling with cannon fire, and the sound of your own ship's guns arrives from every direction at once. A fighter rolls onto its back and splits away under the formation, and for one long second it belongs to you alone. You swing the sight through it and fire. The twin 50s shake the whole ball like a struck bell. Spent brass rattles, cordite stings your eyes, and your tracers fall away behind the diving fighter. You led him wrong. Twin 50s. 1,500 rounds per minute, combined. Your guns can pour out a staggering weight of fire, but barrels burn out and ammunition runs out. Gunnery school said short bursts. Fear says hold the buttons down. You are the only man aboard who can see straight down, so you are the one who catches the pair climbing toward the low squadron, hidden in the formation's blind spot. You call them, low, climbing, coming to us, and put a burst ahead of the leader. He flinches wide and breaks away, and your voice on the interphone sounds like a stranger's. You will probably never know whether you hit anything today. The tracer of many guns crosses every fighter that comes through, and the forms on the ground divide credit coldly. Somewhere above you, cannon shells find your ship. You hear it through the structure, felt more than heard, like an axe striking a tree you are sitting in. The gunner's war is a list of things trying to reach you, and you rank them without meaning to, in the private arithmetic every combat airman carries. The worst day. 60 bombers lost in one mission. You have heard what happened to the groups that went deep without escort. On the worst days the arithmetic simply collapsed, and whole squadrons never came home at all. And then, as suddenly as it began, the sky is empty of fighters. They are somewhere below, refueling and rearming, and the formation drones on, counting its wounded and its gaps.
Stage 7. The hit.
You have been told how it happens, and the telling turns out to be true.
There is no warning. There is only before and after. A late flak battery on the route out finds you.
The burst is close enough to shove the whole bomber sideways, and your glass world rings like a bell. A thin ribbon of oil comes back over your glass from the inboard engine, and its propeller slows, stiffens, and stops, turn edge onto the wind like a knife. The pilot's voice comes on doing the bravest thing a voice can do, staying level.
Crew check, station by station. Every man answers. The ship flies on, slower now.
Then you squeeze the handles and nothing happens.
The hum is gone.
The turret sits dead with your guns pointing somewhere useless, and the hatch is nowhere near the fuselage. Every ball gunner has rehearsed this moment in the dark of his bunk, power gone, hatch turned away, the ship going down.
You make yourself breathe.
The ship is not going down. You call it in, and above you the waist gunners fit the hand crank and begin to grind the dead turret around by muscle, degree by degree, toward the hatch position. What looks like crank turret, exit calmly is really get out, get out. There is a procedure for this, printed calmly in the manual, and there is the experience of it, which no manual has ever quite managed to print. The hatch cracks open above your head and light and noise pour in, and hands grab your harness and haul you up into the fuselage like a man from a well. On the floor of the waist you clip the chest pack to your harness with fingers that will not behave. For the first time in hours, you could leave this airplane. The flight engineer traces the fault to a severed cable, strips it back, and splices it, and the turret hums back to life below the floor like a woken animal. Nobody orders a man back into a ball that has already died once. But the belly is blind without you. You unclip the parachute, hang it on its hook, and go down. Folding yourself back into the glass is the hardest thing you have done in this war, and it gets done the way everything gets done up here, because someone must.
Stage 8. The long way home. A damaged bomber cannot hold formation, and a bomber alone is what the fighters are looking for.
The way home is measured in fuel, altitude, and luck. On the engines that remain, the pilot trades altitude for speed, and the formation pulls away ahead, its guns and its safety shrinking into the western sky.
The order comes to lighten the ship.
Ammunition, flak vests, anything loose goes out the waist windows, falling away beneath your feet toward the fields of the enemy. Alone, low, and slow, you become the whole air defense of the belly.
Your eyes ache from sweeping the down sky quadrant by quadrant, waiting for the speck that moves.
In the cockpit they are doing fuel arithmetic you can feel through the interphone, in the pauses between words.
You watch the sea come and try not to do it with them.
As the ship comes down through thicker air, feeling returns to your feet like boiling water, and at last the pilot says the crew can come off oxygen. The enemy coast throws up one last spiteful string of flak as you cross out, black knots bursting behind the tail, and then there is nothing below you but water.
Ditching in the North Sea. 30 minutes, roughly, in the water.
The North Sea is not a friend. If the engines quit here, the ship ditches in water that kills as surely as cannon fire, only slower and colder. A pair of shapes drops out of the sun and your heart stops until you see the white stars. Thunderbolts, come out to walk the cripples home. You could weep. Then the coast of England rises out of the haze, low and green and impossible, and men all over the airplane start talking at once about nothing at all. Before landing you crank the guns down, open the hatch, and climb up out of the sky into the airplane, and someone pounds your shoulder harder than he needs to. In the pattern ahead, another fortress fires red flares arcing over the field, wounded aboard, and the ambulances peel off the perimeter track to follow her down. Your own wheels touch, skip, and hold, and England comes drumming up through the airframe.
At the hardstand the engines run down, one by one, into an enormous silence.
You drop out of the hatch onto grass and stand there swaying while the ground crew counts the holes in the skin, chalking each one without a word.
Stage 9. The count. Surviving the mission is not the same as surviving the tour.
The tour is a stack of missions, and the stack does its own arithmetic. In the interrogation hut you answer questions over coffee cut with whiskey, fighters seen, flak met, parachutes counted. A clerk writes your day into a form and files it. The tour.
25 missions to go home. Then the only number that matters gets updated. The tour is a fixed count of completed missions, and when you reach it, they have to send you home. In the morning a ground crewman paints a small bomb on the nose of your ship, one more in the line, and you stand for a while and look at the line. Some evenings you come back to the hut and there are stripped mattresses where men slept, their belongings boxed and gone before supper. No one says much. There is nothing to say. The odds. 1 in 4 crews completed the tour. You do the arithmetic anyway, lying awake in the dark, because everyone does. In this year of the war, the odds of finishing are not the kind you would bet. You write home the way everyone writes home, saying the food is fine and the work is steady, folding the ball and the flak small enough to fit an envelope. The man in the ball. 19 years old, give or take. In the photographs from these bases the gunners are grinning boys with their hats pushed back, and it is easy to forget how young the ball had to be. And then it is another black morning, another hand on your shoulder, another curtain pulled off another map, and you climb down into the glass again because it is yours. The missions stack up through a winter and into a spring, cloud, flak, fighters, frost, the small voice saying ball turret okay, over and over, until the stack is nearly done. The last one is a milk run that your body refuses to believe in, and when the wheels finally touch you sit in the waist with your eyes shut, adding it up. They shake your hand at the hardstand and the row of painted bombs is complete. You will never again fold your knees to your chest inside a ball of glass. The cost. 26,000 8th Air Force dead. Too many crews never finished their row. The bomber war over Europe killed young Americans on a scale that the quiet green fields of England still remember. After the war a poet who had worn the same uniform wrote a handful of short lines about the man curled in this turret, and people read them still. The ball turrets themselves are nearly all gone, cut from the scrapped bombers. A few survive in museums, hanging in the quiet, smaller than anyone standing under them expects. So remember it the way it was, a boy folded in glass beneath a bomber, no parachute, watching the whole war come up at him, and answering, ball turret okay.